Hello everyone, a warm welcome to all of you at our YouTube channel CS Ansar. I am Pooja Soni from CS Ansar and today we are going to discuss about capital gain by Neha ma'am. Before going to start, my small request to everyone, please like and subscribe our YouTube channel CS Ansar and also press the bell icon so that you will get notified by latest update. Now, over to you ma'am.
Hello everyone, this is Neha Srivastav. First of all, I'd like to thank CSNSR for giving me this opportunity and Pooja for organizing this. So, as you all know, tax season is approaching and everybody is busy filing their tax return. And capital gain has always been a pain point for all the individuals who are filing their tax returns. So, we thought that we will discuss various issues which are involved in capital gain taxation in case of individual. So, in this entire session, there would not be much theory that I will discuss. I will not go into the detailed provisions, but I will just touch upon the basics, different scenarios where the capital gain tax triggers. So let's start. So first we will understand what are the triggers of the capital gain tax. So basically there are three conditions that must be there in order to attract capital gain taxability. So first is that there must be a capital asset. So if I say capital asset, I mean any kind of asset, any kind of property, but it does not include any stock in trade, personal effects, or any rural agricultural land. Now, the second condition is that there must be a transfer of that capital asset, like there must be a sale, exchange, relinquishment, or extinguishment of right related to that capital asset. And the last condition for triggering the capital gain taxation is that from the transfer of the capital asset, there must be a profit that is generated, like the value at which the capital gain asset is sold, like अगर हमने एसेट को बेचा है सपोज 100 रुपए पे और हमने उसको खरीदा था 20 रुपए पे, so the net amount 80 rupees would be taxed as a capital gain. So these things are the mandatory requirement in order to trigger capital gain taxation. But the law has specified that there are certain transactions which would not be treated as transfer for the purpose of capital gain taxation. So अगर आपने कोई भी asset अपना transfer किया है, अपना asset transfer किया है under a will or through inheritance, so in that case there would not be any capital gain tax that you have to pay, right? Now again there are certain deeming provisions. For example, अगर आपने अपनी property बेची है और उसमें आपका stamp duty value होता है generally, तो अगर if your stamp duty value is more than your agreement value, so in certain conditions that stamp duty value is deemed as your full value of consideration for computing capital gain tax. And second deeming provision is, which is important for individual, is like if you are engaged in any business and you have any fixed assets for your business purpose on which you are claiming like depreciation जैसे होता है आपका लैपटॉप होता है या आपका मोबाइल फोन होता है, आप उसको यूज कर रहे हो, आप उस पर डेप्रिसिएशन चार्ज कर रहे हो, और एंड इफ सपोज आप उस पर डेप्रिसिएशन चार्ज करो और इफ सपोज उस पर अगर आपने उसको कभी बेचा, तो दैट वुड बी डीम्ड एज योर शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन irrespective of your period of holding. So this is a basic concept of capital gain tax. Now we will move to our next slide. So basically here you will see I have listed various assets और उसका क्या time frame होता है and what is the taxability, right? So for determining the taxability of any capital gain, we need to categorize the capital assets into two categories. One is short-term capital asset and the second is long-term capital asset, right? So and this is generally determined by the period of holding. So I'll explain few type of assets and its period of holding and what would be the tax rate, right? So in case of listed equity shares or equity oriented mutual funds, if it is held for less than 12 months, then it is treated as short-term capital gain. And if it is held for more than 12 months, then it is treated as long-term capital gain, right? And the tax rate applicable on STCG is 20% now. Previously, it was 15%, but government has revised these rate effective 23rd July 2024. Now, if you sell any capital asset, then the applicable rate would be short-term gain rate would be 20%. And long-term capital gain rate is 12.5%. Earlier, it used to be 10%, but now the government has increased it to 12.5%. However, if your long-term capital gain is up to 1,25,000, then you don't have to pay any capital gain tax on that transfer or gain, right? So the next category of asset is unlisted equity shares and immovable property, right? So if you have held these type of assets for less than 24 months and not 12 months, 24 months, then it would be treated as short-term capital gain. And if you have held this property for more than 24 months, then it would be treated as long-term capital gain, right? And the tax rate in case of unlisted shares, immovable property for short-term capital gain is slab rate, the applicable slab rate, which would be applicable to your case. And in case of long-term capital gain, again, it is 12.5% without indexation. So one thing I would like to highlight here that long-term capital gain for all type of assets have now been has the rate of long-term capital gain for all type of asset has now been revised to 12.5% without indexation, right? And the last category which I would discuss in this slide is debt mutual funds, which post 1st of April 2023 have been treated as short-term capital gain irrespective of the period for which it is held. So if you have sold any debt mutual fund, it would always be taxed at your slab rate irrespective of period of holding. Even if it is long-term capital gain, you will not get any benefit of the special tax rate. Okay, so I'll move. So in the remaining part of our presentation, I'll pick few type of securities, and we will discuss the various points or various issues which are involved there, and what are the things we should be mindful of while filing our income tax return. So the first category of the asset is listed equity, long-term capital gain. So as I discussed previously, also in the previous slide, the rate is 12.5% for long-term capital gain, and up to 1,25,000 it is exempt. So in order to get this beneficial tax rate, there are certain conditions that must be fulfilled. Like the equity shares or the equity mutual fund must be held for more than 12 months, and therefore it would qualify as long-term capital gain, right? Second is the security transaction tax must be paid both at the time of purchase and sale of the assets. That is, it must be listed in a recognized stock exchange, and the category of the asset I already explained. It must be equity share or any unit of equity oriented mutual funds, right? So if these conditions are met, then you can get the benefit of 12.5% special tax rate applicable to long-term capital gain. Now, there's important point here that in individual taxation, if you know, like the surcharge can go up to 37%. But if you have an income from this type of asset, which is listed long-term equity shares, that in that case, your surcharge is capped up to 15%. So even if your income goes above 5 CR, even in those cases, your surcharge is capped at 15%. So this is an important point. Now, if there's a grandfathering provision also in this type of equity shares. So basically what it is, so before 31st of January 2018, all the capital gain from long-term capital asset which are listed in a stock exchange were exempt. Later on, government brought this into tax regime and brought it into long-term capital tax gain regime. So, but then government said, even if you are now taxable on these income, but you would not be taxed on the gain which you have accrued till 31st of January 2018 and from the date of original purchase cost. Therefore, what they have said that for computing your capital gain, the cost of acquisition would be your actual cost when you have purchased this asset or the fair market value as on 31st January 2018, whichever is higher, that amount you can claim as a cost of acquisition for computing your capital gain, right? But that would be capped up to the sale price. So basically, you cannot claim any cost more than your sale price. This is an important point. Now, while filing your return, there is a schedule called Schedule 112A, which is a mandatory schedule. You must fill while filing your return if you have this type of capital gain in your case, and all the transaction must be reported script wise. Each detail should be fulfilled appropriately. If you aggregate the transaction and put a consolidated entry, then there is a fair chance that the scrutiny would arise or trigger. So, and the last point here I would like to make is that never ever try to inflate your fair market value in order to reduce your capital gain tax liability, because our tax department have all kind of information now, so they can easily trap you. Now, the second point we will discuss about the capital gain from the sale of real estate or the property. So again, if it is held for less than 24 months, it is short-term capital gain taxed at slab rate. And if it is held for more than 24 months, it is long-term capital gain and taxed at 12.5% without indexation. However, in case of property, the government has given an option to the taxpayer to choose between the following. Number one, like 20% of the 20% tax rate with indexation or 12.5% tax rate without indexation. तो आपको ये देखना है उसमें कि जो भी ऑप्शंस आपके लिए ज्यादा बेनिफिशियल हो रहा है 20% विद इंडेक्सेशन या 12.5% विदाउट इंडेक्सेशन, जो भी आपके लिए बेनिफिशियल हो रहा है यू कैन अप्लाई दैट. तो ये बेसिकली 20% विद इंडेक्सेशन जो पहले हम करते थे वो वाला ऑप्शन दिया है किस टैक्स पेयर्स को, बट उस प्रॉपर्टी के लिए ही वही द प्रॉपर्टी विच वाज एक्वायर्ड बिफोर 23rd of July 2024. तो अगर आपकी प्रॉपर्टी उससे पहले की है देन यू कैन अवेल दिस ऑप्शन. अगर उसके बाद आपने कोई प्रॉपर्टी परचेज की है और उसको सेल कर रहे हो आफ्टर सम टाइम जो लॉन्ग टर्म होगा, तो उस केस में आपको ये ऑप्शन नहीं दिया जाएगा, राइट. एंड सेकेंड पॉइंट जो हमें माइंडफुल होना है इन केस ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी, जो हमने आगे भी पहले भी डिस्कस किया है अबाउट द स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू. तो अगर आपका स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू आपकी अग्रीमेंट वैल्यू से ज्यादा है देन गवर्नमेंट कैन डीम इट एज योर फुल वैल्यू ऑफ कंसिडरेशन, मगर वहां पे भी एक टॉलरेंस लिमिट होता है. सपोज अगर आपका स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू इज अप टू 110% ऑफ द अग्रीमेंट वैल्यू, देन कोई भी एडजस्टमेंट नहीं होगा. योर एक्चुअल कॉस्ट फेयर मार्केट full value of consideration would be treated for the purpose of capital gain computation, right? And now next is I will discuss about various reinvestment options are given to the taxpayer in order to get the benefit from the taxation and reduce their capital gain tax liability. So basically, if you are selling any house property, then you can reinvest that amount into another house property 1 month before the date, 1 year before the date of transfer, or 2 years after the date of transfer, or you can construct a new house, another house property 3 years after the date of transfer, right? And there's one condition that you should not own more than one house property at any point of time for claiming this benefit. And so if your total capital gain is less than 2 CR, then there is one more condition that you can like have 2 house property in your name and still you can claim this exemption, right? Now, second type of exemption is section 54F, which is if you sell any kind of long-term capital asset, then you can like invest that amount of capital gain into any house, for purchasing any residential house property 1 year transfer or 2 years after the date of transfer, or you can construct a house property 3 years after the date of transfer. These provisions are more or less similar. And the last is if you can also invest in certain bonds like NHAI and REC bonds within 6 months from the date of transfer. The limit is 50 lakh. An important point about 54 and 54F is that maximum amount of exemption that you claim under these two sections is 10 CR, 10 crore. That's it. Okay. Now, there's also one provision called capital gain account scheme. So if you are not able to invest the amount of your sale of property or sale of any capital asset into any of the prescribed investment avenues, then you have been given an option to deposit that amount in the capital gain account scheme, but that has to be done before the due date of filing your income tax return, and later on you can utilize that money for the purpose of purchase of house property uh, uh, while complying with the provisions of section 54, 54F and 54 EC, which we have discussed just now, right? So now we will move to our next slide, which is very important, set of carry forward and year-end review. So basically, when you do any capital gain transaction, there is a possibility that you suffer some losses in the sale, and it is not necessarily that you always have a gain. So there is a provision that if you have a losses, you can set off those losses against your gain. So we will understand what kind of losses can be set off against what kind of income. So basically, if you have any short-term capital loss, that can be set off only against short-term capital gain and long-term capital gain of any kind of asset. Okay, तो short-term capital loss आप दोनों short-term capital gain और long-term capital gain दोनों से adjust कर सकते हैं. But long-term capital loss can only be adjusted or set off against the long-term capital gain. Short-term capital gain से ये adjust नहीं होता. ठीक है. Now there is a VDA loss which is called virtual digital asset, which we will discuss in our as we progress in our discussion. So वो VDA losses कहीं पे भी allowed नहीं है to offset. उसके losses are not allowed to offset, to carry forward, nothing. ठीक है. And FNOs also we will discuss as we progress in our discussion. So we will discuss it at that point of time only. Now the important point is capital losses cannot be set off against salary income, cannot be set off against any business income or any other heads of income. Only it can be set off against capital gain, as I have discussed short-term capital loss against both long-term and short-term, but long-term capital loss only against long-term capital gain. And you can carry forward the unadjusted losses if any can be carried forward up to 8 years. And however, you must have to file your income tax rate return before the due date in order to get this benefit of carry forward and set off in the future years. Right. So there's one important point while you are doing share trading, people do what they do. They review their year-end portfolio, and अगर उनके पास gain है तो and if they want to sell any securities जिसमें losses है तो generally वो set off हो जाता है. So if you have to sell your mutual funds, then you may review this your year-end portfolio and book losses, and if required, maybe next year if required, you can reinvest that amount. So this is all about losses carry forward and adjustment. Now we'll move to our next slide, which is AIF, mutual funds taxation. I will very quickly cover this because most of it is already covered in a previous slide or would be covered in the in our succeeding slides. So basically आजकल क्या होता है, बहुत सारे लोग AIF में invest कर रहे हैं, alternate investment funds. तो अगर आपने कभी इस AIF में इन्वेस्ट किया है तो बी माइंडफुल, आप जरूर चेक करिए कि which category of AIF you fall. So basically category 1 है, 2 है, 3 है, because category 1 and 2 are treated as pass through category. तो इस केस में क्या होता है, इन्वेस्टर्स के हैंड, पास थ्रू का मतलब होता है कि फंड लेवल पे ये एग्जेम्प्ट होता है और इन्वेस्टर्स के हैंड्स में सारी इनकम टैक्स होती है. तो अगर आपको LTCG हो रहा है, STCG हो रहा है, मतलब लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन है, शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन है, बिजनेस इनकम जो भी है, आपको वो चेक करना पड़ेगा कि वेदर it is taxable in your hands or in the hands of the investment fund. So इसीलिए it is very important that you know which category of AIF fund you have invested, and then accordingly you decide the taxability. Taxability would be same जैसा होता है म्यूचुअल फंड्स का या सिक्योरिटीज का, बट यू हैव टू सी कि वो आपको टैक्स करना है या फंड लेवल पे टैक्स होगा. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल कैटेगरी 3 इज नॉट अ पास थ्रू, तो वो फंड लेवल पे टैक्स होता है और इट इज एग्जेम्प्ट इन योर हैंड्स. तो क्या होता है कि ये जो भी आप इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हो AIF फंड्स में, उसकी एक स्टेटमेंट या रिटर्न फाइल करते हैं ये फंड्स, और वो आपको एक स्टेटमेंट जनरेट करते हैं ईयर एंड में, विच इज कॉल्ड 64B. So it is very important that you reconcile your income with 64B before you finalize your income tax return, because अगर इसमें कुछ भी mismatch होगा तो government will definitely send you a notice or would ask you the reason for the mismatch. So it's very important that you reconcile your computation with Form 64B, which are issued by these funds. Right. Now, the next point is very important, which is taxability of futures and options, intraday and stock trading. So क्या होता है, आजकल हम काफी सारे लोग बहुत ज्यादा ही इन्वॉल्व है स्टॉक ट्रेडिंग में और शेयर्स एंड इन्वेस्ट शेयर्स में ट्रेडिंग करने में, तो उसमें भी बहुत टाइप के ट्रेडिंग्स होती हैं, एंड वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड कि उसकी टैक्सेबिलिटी क्या होती है. जैसे कि आपने इंट्राडे करा, या आपने फ्यूचर एंड ऑप्शंस में इन्वेस्टमेंट की, या आपने स्टॉक ट्रेडिंग की, तो उन सबकी ट्रीटमेंट इनकम टैक्स में अलग है. सो वी शुड नो बिफोर फाइनलाइजिंग. इवन हमारे कंसल्टेंट भी हमारी रिटर्न बना रहे हैं, देन ऑल्सो वी शुड बी अवेयर ऑफ दीज फैक्ट्स, सो दैट वी नो कि हम किस चीज पे टैक्स पे कर रहे हैं, हम जो पे कर रहे हैं वो करेक्ट कर रहे हैं या नहीं. So first आता है future and options. तो future and options are always treated as business income. It is not capital gain. अगर आपको कोई भी profit हो रहा है from the transfer or sell of future and options, then आपको that would be treated as a business income and not capital gain. This is very important and a very common mistake which people generally do while filing their return, right? So ये हाँ, सो ये बिजनेस इनकम है, नॉर्मल बिजनेस इनकम है, स्पेक्यूलेटिव बिजनेस इनकम नहीं है. इस केस के लिए आपको ITR 3 भरनी होगी, ITR 2 नहीं जाएगी, बिकॉज ये बिजनेस इनकम है. और अगर आपने इसको गलती से कैपिटल गेन रिपोर्ट कर दिया तो देयर इज अ फेयर चांस कि आपकी स्क्रूटिनी खुल सकती है, राइट. सो नेक्स्ट इज हमारा इंट्राडे ट्रेडिंग. तो इंट्राडे ट्रेडिंग क्या होता है कि हमने सेम डे खरीदा, सेम डे बेच दिया विदाउट डिलीवरी. तो इसको हमारे एक्ट में डिफाइंड किया गया है एज अ स्पेक्यूलेटिव ट्रांजैक्शन, और ये भी बिजनेस इनकम कैपिटल गेन नहीं होता, ये भी स्पेक्यूलेटिव बिजनेस इनकम होता है. तो इसकी टैक्सेबिलिटी स्लैब रेट पे होती है. इट इज ट्रीटेड एज स्पेक्यूलेटिव बिजनेस इनकम, और इसके लॉसेस सिर्फ स्पेक्यूलेटिव बिजनेस लॉसेस से ही, इसकी लॉसेस जो होते हैं वो सिर्फ स्पेक्यूलेटिव बिजनेस इनकम से ही सेट ऑफ होते हैं, और इसका कैरी फॉरवर्ड 4 years तक अलाउड होता है. एंड नाउ लास्ट कैटेगरी जो हम शेयर ट्रेडिंग करते हैं, वो नॉर्मल जो हम डिलीवरी बेस्ड अपना शेयर्स परचेज करते हैं, तो दैट इज सिंपली वो बिजनेस इनकम भी हो सकता है, कैपिटल गेन भी हो सकता है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द इंटेंट ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर्स. तो अगर आपने उसको इन शेयर्स खरीदे हैं विद एन इंटेंट टू होल्ड इट एज एन इन्वेस्टमेंट, देन एनी गेन फ्रॉम द ट्रांसफर ऑफ सच shares would be treated as capital gain. अगर आपने shares को खरीदे हैं for the purpose of trading, then वो आपका as a business profit भी treat किया जा सकता है. So completely it depends on the intent, and you have to explain it before the authority or income tax authority why you have treated it as a capital gain and not as business income, or business income and not as capital gain, right? So टैक्स रेट इज वेरी क्लियर. FNO क्योंकि बिजनेस इनकम है तो स्लैब रेट पे होगा. इंट्राडे इक्विटी क्योंकि स्पेक्यूलेटिव बिजनेस इनकम है तो भी ये स्लैब रेट पे होगा. डिलीवरी बेस्ड होता है क्योंकि कैपिटल गेन होगा तो जो रेट एप्लीकेबल होगा, विच वी डिस्कस 12.5% फॉर लॉन्ग टर्म एंड 20% फॉर शॉर्ट टर्म. So these are the things. And now set offs भी I think it's clear. FNO क्योंकि ये बिजनेस इनकम है तो वो बिजनेस कैन बी सेट ऑफ अगेंस्ट एनी बिजनेस इनकम, और सैलरी के अगेंस्ट ये नहीं सेट ऑफ होता है. FNO losses can be set off carry forward for 8 years. Speculative losses can only be set off against speculative gain, and it can be carried forward for 4 years only. And now we will move to our next slide, which is virtual digital asset. Virtual digital asset VDA सुना होगा आप लोगों ने, आजकल काफी फेमस है, लोग काफी ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हैं क्रिप्टो करेंसी में, NFTs में, नॉन फंजिबल टोकन्स एंड एनी sort of virtual digital asset which is defined by the government. So agar if there is any gain you have on such kind of asset, then it is taxed at a flat rate of 30% plus surcharge and cess is applicable. There is no slab benefit or no basic exemption you will get on the sale of virtual digital asset. The only deduction you get is the cost of acquisition, और इसमें भी कोई डिस्टिंक्शन नहीं है between short term and long term. होल्डिंग पीरियड से कोई मैटर नहीं करता. अगर आपको कोई भी गेन हो रहा है जो इट इज टैक्स एट द फ्लैट रेट ऑफ 20%. और वीडीए लॉसेस का सेट ऑफ कहीं पे भी अलाउड नहीं है, नॉट इवन अगेंस्ट वीडीए इनकम. तो एंड नॉट इवन इट इज अलाउड टू बी कैरीड फॉरवर्ड, बिकॉज ये लॉस सेट ऑफ ही नहीं होता, तो कैरी फॉरवर्ड का कोई पॉइंट ही नहीं बनता, राइट. और इसमें नेक्स्ट पॉइंट जो इम्पोर्टेंट है, जो नोट करने वाला है, वो ये है कि अगर आपने कोई स्वैपिंग भी की है क्रिप्टो टू क्रिप्टो, जैसे BTC टू ETH, वो भी इज ट्रीटेड एज अ टैक्सेबल ट्रांजैक्शन, और वहां पे भी आपको गेन पे टैक्स पे करना पड़ेगा एट द रेट ऑफ 30%. और जो गेन कंप्यूट करोगे वो करोगे आप फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू ऑन द डेट ऑफ स्वैप. ठीक है. सो एवरी, और एक हम जब व्हेन वी फाइल द इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
सो बेसिकली अगर आपने कोई भी ट्रेडिंग की है ऑन वर्चुअल डिजिटल एसेट, जो क्रिप्टो करेंसी है ये, तो उसमें अगर कोई भी गेन हो रहा है तो वो फ्लैट 30% पर टैक्स होता है. आपको कोई भी स्लैब का बेनिफिट नहीं मिलता है, कोई बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन रिलीफ नहीं है. द ओनली डिडक्शन विच यू गेट इज द कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन. ये इसमें कोई डिस्टिंक्शन नहीं है शॉर्ट टर्म लॉन्ग टर्म का. द फ्लैट टैक्स रेट इज 30%. ठीक है. और कई बार ये होता है कि वी डू स्वैपिंग बिटवीन द क्रिप्टो, लाइक BTC को ETH से हमने स्वैप कर दिया, तो दैट इज आल्सो ट्रीटेड एज अ टैक्सेबल इवेंट, एंड उसमें भी जो गेन आ रहा है दैट इज टैक्स्ड एट 30%. और वो गेन हम कंप्यूट करते हैं फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू ऑन द डेट ऑफ स्वैप. सो एवरी स्वैप should be reported in your income tax return, right? और second important point here to note is that कोई भी VDA loss आपका हो रहा है, that is not allowed to be set off against any kind of income, not even VDA income, and that is also not allowed to be carried forward to the future years, क्योंकि वो set off ही नहीं हो रहा है, तो there is no point carrying it forward to the future years. ठीक है. Now when you are filing your income tax return, you have to be very mindful that you properly fill your schedule VDA. आपकी जितनी भी transaction हो रही है VDA से related, you should properly report it there. Even the swapping of the crypto to another crypto should be reported appropriately in the VDA. Any misreporting or mismatch would definitely going to trigger scrutiny from your tax department. Now, I think we have mostly covered the important points related to the capital gain taxation, which would be helpful for you for income tax return. There are in the next two slides, I will quickly explain you what are the trigger point for the scrutiny assessment, and while preparing your return, you must be mindful of these things. So first is AIS 26AS and ITR mismatch. So while preparing your income tax return, please be very careful that you reconcile all your capital gain transaction with your AIS and TIS and 26AS, and then report it in your tax computation. That is one. Second is I explained about VDA also. अगर आपका कोई भी VDA transaction है तो please be careful, और सारी VDA transaction should be reported in your income tax return. AIF जैसे alternate investment funds के बारे में I discussed कि अगर वो if there is any to that, then 64 you must wait for the final 64B which are issued by the funds, and then you should match the income with the form 64B before finalizing your tax return. अगर आप कैपिटल गेन से रिलेटेड टैक्सेबिलिटी आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे हैं तो विद होल्डिंग पीरियड को प्लीज डू नॉट चेंज, बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट के पास सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन होती है. इफ यू आर लाइक टू गेट द बेनिफिशियल टैक्स रेट ऑफ 12.5%, आप उसको शॉर्ट टर्म नहीं लॉन्ग टर्म दिखा रहे हैं, प्लीज डोंट डू दैट, बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट के पास सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन होती है. सो यू that there's a fair chance that you will get a notice from department if you do that. फिर FNO reported as capital gain. As I mentioned, FNO slab rate पे tax होता है, it's a business income. तो आप please do not try to show it as FNO thinking that किसी को पता नहीं चलेगा. ऐसा नहीं है. गवर्नमेंट के पास अब because of the digitalization all the things are reported with the government. तो सारी चीजें आपकी reconcile होती है. Processing your return, there's a fair chance that you may get notice or clarification from the department. सिमिलरली अगर आपने प्रॉपर्टी बेची है तो सेक्शन 54C के अकॉर्डिंगली आप प्लीज असेस करिए कि आपका स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू और अग्रीमेंट वैल्यू विच एवर इज हायर, उसमें जो भी एडजस्टमेंट करने हैं प्लीज डू दैट व्हाइल प्रिपेयरिंग योर इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न, राइट. एंड द लास्ट स्लाइड इज certain filing checklist, I think more or less I have covered कि आपको सारा reconciliation करना है, you take final 64B, VDA schedule भरिए, 112A भरिए, and that's all from my side for today's session. So if you have any query, you can always reach out to me, and I think that's all from my side. Thank you so much.